people like strategy? Because they want to know how to win without a forehand, backhand, serve, and volley. Honestly. What you're looking for is some plan. People come to me and say, look, I am really intelligent, man. I'm the head of 7 major firms. But all we find is if you don't have strokes, that just makes you an intelligent loser. See, what we want to do is to give you some strokes. What we find is most people have a plan that far exceeds their ability level. So try to get a plan that matches your ability. If you only have one dinky shot, and that's to hit a lob, lob. And that's all you've got. And if you don't have any strokes, don't worry about plans. You don't need a plan. All right? Now, for example, we found in our little experimentation that pros only had about 2 plans. And the other guy knew exactly what they were going to do anyway. For instance, if you remember Jimmy Connors, when he lost to Arthur Ashe at Wimbledon about 6 or 7 years ago, Jimmy Connors lost because Arthur Ashe said, my plan is to keep it low. That's all. That sounds dumb. That's not dumb, that's smart. The difference is Arthur could keep it low. The rest of us could have the plan, but we hit moon balls. Now, if you take a look, pros have about 2 simple plans. But in our little survey, intermediates had about 6 really delicate plans. Now, beginners had about 21 plans, if you can believe it. Now, guess what we found from beginners? Beginners, sophisticated plans, such as, if you want to beat Helen, man, I know how you can do it. Run her here, and then here, and then here, and then here. And the plan was, give Helen the big X. And if you can give her the big X, you can beat her. Well, if you can do this, don't worry about Helen, because you can also beat Navratilova, Everett. You can beat anybody. You don't have to worry about Helen. Get out of town and get on the tour. Now, the other kind of things we've seen with beginners, if you want to beat Helen, here's another way you can do it. Fade your down the line shot inside out on a 38-degree axis. She has a trick fibula. She will collapse moving north. I'm telling you, forget all that stuff. You don't have to worry about those kind of things. So beginners say, well, what should I do if you don't like that plan? Well, I say, look, just hit it deep and down the middle. Wherever you are, hit your shot deep and down the middle. You run here, hit it there. Run here, hit it there. That's all we're saying, deep and down the middle. And they always say, yeah, but who can you beat doing that? The answer is nearly everyone in the world. Now, the problem is you can't do that. See, if you learn to hit a straight ball, you don't need any magic, because if somebody's here, hit a straight ball there. And if they're here, hit it there. That's all. Just learn to hit a straight ball. Now, beginners say, yeah, but that's not my game. That's not the way I play. If you're a beginner, you don't have a game. I'm saying, look, don't get mad at me. It's just true. You don't know where the ball's going. That's what's nice about beginning tennis. No one knows where it's going. And beginners say, hey, look, man, what I want to learn to run for the ball before the guy hits it. You know, the way the pros do it. You can't. They say, why not? The answer is because the guy hitting it doesn't even know where it's going. No one knows. In beginning tennis, every shot is a surprise. And that's what's nice about beginning tennis. And I don't mean anything nasty about it. That's what's beautiful. If you're a beginner, you're crummy. I mean, you can't play yet and have some fun. Laugh your guts out. Don't try to prove something to somebody. You don't have to give somebody an image. You don't have the image to give. Because you can lie about how great you are, but eventually someone's going to say, ready, play. And all the lies you've told now set out on the table for everybody to see. Don't do that. Have some fun while you're a beginner. Laugh your guts out, and you'll play better anyway if you're happy and have more fun. But people say, yes, but my partner is always criticizing me because they don't like the way I'm just a beginner. I say, dump them. Dump your partner. And they say, can't, it's my husband. I say, well then, at least dump them for tennis, you know. When it's time for tennis, say, so long, you know, I'll see you a little bit later. You got to get somebody who understands what it's like to be a beginner, you know, because when beginning tennis starts, I say that to everybody. Once a beginner walks to the line to serve, the point is near the end. You see, it's almost over, right, before it starts. So don't get wrapped up in trying to be somebody you're not. Learn to have some fun being crummy. Intermediates say, well, I want more than that. This is an expensive course. I say, well, what do you want? They say, I want to serve and attack, man. I want to go because 1981, that's going to be my year. I'm going to serve and go like the pros. We say, you can't serve and go. And they say, why not? We have to tell intermediates the truth because most intermediates beat their own serve to the net. See, what we're saying is, if you get hit in the back of the head with your own serve, you should stay back. And so they say, well, what should I do if I stay back? And we say, look, just stay back, start a rally, wait for a short ball, and then you can go to the net. And they say, yeah, but who wants to play that way? And we can name a few. Borg, Vilas, Everett, that's the way they play. Just keep it deep and wait for a short ball. Intermediates say, yeah, but when will I get a short ball? Well, the answer is the very next shot. And people say, how do you know that? I'm saying, that's easy, man. Because if this guy back here could keep it deep, he wouldn't be playing you. See, if he could keep it deep, he would be on the tour. See, so that's why I tell all intermediates, look, if you have a friend and you want to play, and you call them, and they're home, it's because they hit short. See, that's why I say to all your friends, when they answer the phone, if it rings when you're calling them and they go, hello, attack, because it's going to be short. Now, all the people who hit deep are out of town. No one is there to take the phone. So when you get a short ball, take it and go. Now, where do you hit the short ball? That is called your approach shot, by the way. You hit the ball back and forth, wait for a short, and now you're approaching the net. You hit the ball deep to your opponent's backhand corner. Why? And the answer is for most people. There's some exceptions to every rule, but for most people are late on the backhand side. And when you're late, you have to underspin. When you underspin, the ball stays in the air longer, gives you a little higher volley. Plus, when you hit the ball deep to your opponent's backhand corner, if they can only hit long shots with that shot, because underspin has a tendency to plane and stay up in the air, now they have to use the length from this corner to this corner. And that means the ball has to cross the center stripe. And when the ball crosses the center stripe, that's where you are at the net, and it's an easy volley. See, people can't play short angles. We know that most people, when you take a short ball and go into their backhand corner, most people hit a 70-foot shot. Now, let me show you what a 70-foot shot looks like. A 70-foot shot looks like from here to here. A 65-foot 9 shot from there to there. 70-foot to here. Well, people say, how do you know that it's 70 feet? Well, we've marked it off. We've watched champions hit that ball over and over, and almost all of them hit 70 feet. That's why we know the very best anybody can do is from there to there. And if you divide that distance in half between this line and this line, you'll find that that's where you should stand for your volley. Approximately 3 feet to the right of the center stripe, halfway between the net and the service line. So when you go to the net, you stay way off on the side. And people say, yeah, but you're saying this is the very best that anybody can do. What about the guy you're playing who can hit his backhand into this zone? We always say, fortunately for you, he's not living. So you don't have to worry about this guy. And people say, yeah, but you're wrong, man. I can just barely hit my backhand if somebody's at the net and landed in there. But you see, if you're at the net and I just barely hit it, you can just barely walk over and give me the new look. You see, I got to hit that doggone ball. So don't be afraid. Stand halfway between the range your opponent has. Now, when you're at the net, where do you go from there? It's only like a bus station, all right? When you're here, if somebody's going to drive the ball, you take 2 steps forward. If they're going to lob the ball, you go 1, 2, 3 back. Now, when you're here, look how close you are to that line. Now, let me make it very clear for you. When somebody's hitting a backhand from there to there, and you're here, if you can get 2 steps forward, look how close you get to that angle. They cannot pass you. That's why those 2 steps are so important. And I think the day is coming when more and more people learn to anticipate drive or lob, they get on top of the net because they'll hardly ever be passed on a diagonal. Now, you don't leave much, or you don't gain much going down this line. But you've ruled out about 33% of their potential. They can't go this way now. They have to go this way or over your head. So now they only have 2 out of 3, and you can become a much better net player because you know that they can no longer pass you on a diagonal. But most people don't like to do that. To start with, most people who even go to the net, they get a short ball, they hit it to the backhand, they run up, but the problem is they land at the net and they're there for all time. They're just happy to have arrived. And you see people go, made it. You know, and they're not going anywhere, man. That's when they go, is it going to my forehand or to my backhand? It was to my forehand. You don't go anywhere. You've got to take off. You've got to go. Now, people say, wait a minute, Vic, you're always saying take the ball and go into this backhand corner because of the tendency of backhands to hit higher and longer balls. When do you take a short ball and hit your approach shot into this corner? And the answer is when your opponent is left-handed. You see, people don't even notice that. The left-handers can tell you all kinds of stories. Almost every left-hander will tell you. Who are the left-handers here? All right. Now, be honest with me. How many times do you play people and they don't even notice you're left-handed? Am I right or wrong? Do you see people get surprised by being left-handed? Right. Sometimes they don't even notice until after the match. And you can see them go, something's wrong with this woman. They don't even know it. Now, we'll tell a story. Beverly Baker Flight's the best story I've ever seen in my life. Super person, a great player. Now, if you know Bev, you know that she plays right-handed. You hit to the other side, she switches the racket and plays left-handed. And she was a Wimbledon finalist, a super player. Now, she was so nice, and I had her play an intermediate, and she absolutely beat his brains out. He'd never seen her play before. Now he comes back to me. She just killed a guy. He says, Vic, you're not going to believe this, man. I said, what happened? He says, I swear to God, I did not get the ball to her backhand once. He said, it did not matter where I hit it. She is so fast. He said, she runs around her backhand and cracks a forehand. He said, I could not get it around her. But the problem was he didn't notice she had only two forehands. I mean, he should have paid attention. And that happened to me once. I used to play this guy in Toledo, Ohio, and he was a fun guy. And he would wait for me every day until I finished teaching all day, because he loved to beat me if he could. And so he would say, call it M or W, M or W. 4 years, I never won the toss. I never even thought about it. 4 years, M or W. I'm calling M. He says W. Now, I'm never checking anything out. One day, it dawned on him. He says, call it M. I go W.